Welcome to part 2 of our conversation with Dr Salamatu Fada from Nigeria, now in Bangor, PhD in Conservation Biology, founder of the North Wales Africa Society, politician, teacher and campaigner for conservation and global warming. This is a collaboration between Africa Welsh News, Hub Cymru Africa and Sub-Saharan Advisory Panel. Just like to talk to you a little bit about JAVS, JAVS, and which is in Nigeria, and is it Talafi?
Yes,
Talafi, which is in Wales.
JAVS is a company, is an environmental care company, and I decided to set up that company. It's a limited liability company registered in Nigeria, and I set it up because that is what I use to do consultancy work, either for government or for businesses or individuals, whoever needs. Most of it is advice, but I have also done on-the-ground work. We set it up because of the very many environmental problems on ground, ranging from flooding to erosions to waste management, just very many, including, of course, climate change now, because I'm very big now on climate action. So we try to advise people how and guide them on how they can work at the grassroots level, as much as also try to make them push for protests, campaigns that are sensible to draw the attention of lawmakers, because doing both can bring change, impact and change. So the company is doing well. Sometimes it suffers because I tend to use a lot of energy on my charities more than the company. Sometimes I say it's because I don't have a business head. But it is doing well. We have so many projects now on ground, like the hippo work and the elephant work. They all are associated with JAVS. This year, in January, I had to go to Wichao to look at a good model. It's a hippo sanctuary in northern Ghana, and we're looking to find solutions for human-wildlife conflict, hippo and farmer-fisherman conflicts in that Inkowa, northern Nigeria. So it was JAVS that sponsored that trip. Talafi actually is a child of my conservation work. So Talafi came about because of working on the human dimension, so looking at social issues in conservation. So as we work in national parks and game reserves, we try to work with the people. And these people usually are situated in communities around national parks, in their villages. And you want to engage with them to understand where they're coming from. You know, why the poaching, why the illegal harvesting, why all these issues. And as you go and engage with them, you find out that they have their own problems as well with the way things are being managed by the national parks and the government. And you find out that these people don't have schools, they don't have water, they don't have electricity, they don't have roads, too many problems. So I have tried to call the attention of many people, including the government, about, coming to the aid of these people. The government is doing their bit, but it's not as much as it is needed. And so in 2019, I decided, okay, I'm going to start a charity to empower these local communities, because I can't keep writing and going to knock on anybody's door. Let me see what I can do a little bit. And so we started, and we picked a village around Yankari, and it's called Kargo. That was our first village. We picked it, and the first thing was they didn't have classrooms. What they had dilapidated to the point that it was falling down. So we had to knock it off. We got some money through the World Bank assisted projects. We got some money. We were able to build them a block of classroom with 3 rooms. We were able to supply solar lamps in the community. So now they have light. They've never had it before. And now we're exploring how we can get them water to use through rain harvest. We've tried underground. It's impossible. It's very bad. In fact, all the surveys that were done there, I had to bring the documents to Welsh Water, and the engineers, after seeing it, said, no, this is hopeless. So we are trying to explore other ways to get them water. If we don't get this water for them, usually what they do is to send the school children to go and fetch water in the morning before they can be released to go to school. And that is affecting enrollment and attendance. So we want to sort that out. Apart from cargo, we have done also teacher training, pupils training, just trying out things to empower them. But apart from cargo in Bauchi, we also have a site in Gombe State. We have another site in Plateau State and another one in Kebbi. So we are growing with Talafi.
You've got Greta Thunberg and Attenborough on TV all the time, banging the drum. As the man on the street, I don't see much change. And maybe you can tell me different, but I see governments and I see the major countries still churning out clouds of whatever. And can you tell me different? Is it actually working, all of this campaigning? And I know that it has to be done, and you have to keep pushing and you have to keep banging the drum. What is actually happening?
Oh, David, bless him. David is originally a journalist, and he's a fantastic storyteller and narrator of the natural world and what is happening. And through his documentaries, you can see how things have changed over time. And he keeps pushing for government to actually be sincere, at least, in all the promises. Now, from the Paris Agreement to the new pact that was made in Glasgow to the most recent meeting that was held in Egypt, in Sharm, on loss for damage, I cannot stand and tell you 100% of the sincerity of our leaders, global leaders. Sometimes these meetings, high profile, with all the agreements, governments of nations all signing and saying, yes, we agree, this is needful, we need to act. Yet the reality in different countries vary. For example, I would give you an example. I would talk about Nigeria, for example. President Buhari has committed, in fact, to even deforestation, and said by 2030 it will be halted in Nigeria. Now, how realistic is that? First of all, he's not going to be president after May 29th of this year. Secondly, there has been a lot of insecurity issues. And most of those guys, the terrorist issues from northern parts of Nigeria and the banditry in the northwest, north central parts, most of these people live in protected areas, nature reserves. And you wonder what magic is going to happen that will even enable people to work. Who is going out to plant trees when everyone is scared whether their life is in danger or not? So for you to come and make such bold statements when the issues of insecurity, I would say, are very heightened in the country, is not realistic. We have seen the commitment of the global north in saying we're going to provide climate finance for the global south, a continent like Africa. But I have said it last year, I'm still repeating it this year. We still cannot see a clear path of how this finance will come and how it is going to support people that have lost a lot. Last year, there was huge floods in Bayelsa of Nigeria. Huge floods. People lost, I think, hundreds of people lost their lives. Hundreds of people millions lost property. And I don't think up till now that any of the climate finance money has gone to these people. We have been doing campaigns. We did campaigns here even last year during the Friends of the Earth conference. I was one of the speakers, and we did campaign on climate finance to support young people and people working in to mitigate climate change, to be provided with money in a very transparent way. But we don't see the money going to them yet. So when you talk about sincerity of purpose, yes, we appreciate people like David Attenborough, bless him, and many others. The youth are talking. People like Greta are talking. We have our own Gretas here in Wales. But who is really doing something? We need to push and push and push and push. We run campaigns here. We did the winter campaign. Now we've just done the nature campaign. Over 300 organizations have signed to Senate, and the letter has gone, I think, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. So we keep doing our campaigns, but whether or not there will be the change that is required, I can't answer that. But I'm not going to give up. I'll just keep doing my thing. Also working with other organizations to keep pushing.
What do you think actually has to be done?
I don't think it's still is any magic. It's not going to be different from what we're doing. So you educate, you raise awareness. In Africa, for example, many people don't understand when you talk about climate change. They don't understand what you're saying. But it's easy for you to relate it to, things that they can identify, like the changes in rainfall patterns, how it has changed over time. Because when you talk about climate change, you talk about at least 20, 25 years change of weather parameters, whether it's temperature or rainfall. So you can draw attention of people like farmers can easily tell you. They understand what is climate change. But many people in the cities, they think that just scientists are just talking and they just cannot relate. So one of the things we're doing is actually to try to raise awareness about climate change, make people understand how things are changing and the need to mitigate. We have been pushing that. The easiest thing probably is pushing for afforestation programs, plant trees. But you see, when people plant trees and don't have other forms of options to use for heating and lighting and cooking, they still go to those trees that are now saplings or whatever, cut them down and still use them. So education is huge, but also advocacy is important for governments to do something. What usually happens is that our leaders don't have the political will. They have other things that are important to them and that they feel are immediate. So they don't pay attention. Unfortunately, climate change is not something that you can avoid now as we see the impacts of the things that are happening around the world. So, education, advocacy, community work. Sometimes it's just as simple as a repair cafe that we have sometimes in Bangor. It's as simple as that. Reuse stuff instead of throwing them and going for new ones. You see, because once you keep going for new things, it means that they also have to go back to the source of the resource and harvest it or extract it to make new products. But if you learn to reuse what you have, when it's spoiled, you fix it. It helps. It reduces the pressure on going to virgin resources. It's as simple as that. So, yeah.
Over the past few sentences, we've talked about education, we've talked about community, we've talked about politics, which brings me to the point where you've got yourself involved in politics by becoming a councillor in Bangor. With all the things that you've got on your plate, I have to ask why?
Oh, Glenn, I think that I have given up on myself, sort of. And I say that because I used to say, I could never do this. I could never do that. I said I would not go into third sector. I will not do not with Gwyneth Africa Society or not. I have done it. I said I would not be a councillor. I am there now. I think as I continue in my life's journey, I have come to the realization that representation is key. Now, I am a woman, I am black, I am single mother, I am Christian, I am so many things that you don't really find people with this combination there are no many people that want to push themselves forward with this combination. And you find that with all the things that are going on, a lot of young women and girl child, they need role models. And if there are no role models, people that have done it and got it right, what is the hope for them? I come from northern Nigeria, where many people don't go to school. There's still high levels of illiteracy, very high levels, where many times women are not called to the table for any meetings, so are still culturally not equals. And now that there are the opportunities to represent women, to represent Black women, to represent Christian women, to represent northern women. Where I say northern, even in Wales here, us northerners are still not so recognized like you South Walians, we're the bush people. I think it's a lot about representation. It's a lot about do it right, Sally, so that other people, other women, other girls would be able to do it also in the nearest future. I don't know whether that has answered you.
The other thing that we have to say is you're the first. You're the first Black African councillor in Bangor.
Yes, I am. I didn't know about that, by the way. And also, I didn't know I was co-opted as a councillor. But I had so much pressure. People that believe, Sally, you need to do it. At the end of the day, I just said, okay, I will do it. And just like the councillorship now, I have said to myself, okay, don't draw any lines anymore. Whatever comes, just face it headlong. Yeah, it's exciting to see that I'm the first councillor, Black councillor in Bangor. Never knew that I was until recently. I think it's joy, it's great joy to know that.
And it's almost full circle, isn't it? Because the most recent honorary degree from Bangor University for work in the Welsh Government, work with the Welsh Government, it's the Council of Adult Learning, it's promoting diversity in the Bangor community, work in conservation and leadership of North Wales African Society, which basically are all the things that we've spoken about today. But that must be you must feel quite proud that the university that you came to all those years ago is now giving you an honorary degree.
Absolutely, Glenn. I at first I thought it was a joke. I opened, of course, my email. I checked my emails and saw the email. I said, what? Selected for honorary award, Doctor of Science. That is just so heartwarming, so good, Let me just quickly say that when I set out to do any of those things you have listed, in fact, some I didn't set out to do them. I was called to do them. I just thought that I was going to serve. I never thought that, an award is going to come or money is going to come no. I just set out to serve, and to be rewarded in this way is really humbling. Where in most countries in Africa, even here in Europe, you find out that honorary doctorates are given to people that are really high up achievers. Somebody said, Sally, but you're one. I don't know about that, but that's what I always thought. But to now be selected, it's really humbling. I have really enjoyed being selected. I've really enjoyed it. I'm so happy about it, and I feel that you don't have to set out to conquer the world. You just go out and be good. Just go out and help and serve and just give what you have. It doesn't have to be the best. But if you're able to help and impact and make a change, do it. Why not?
I think that just a few words that you have said yourself, and you sort of emphasised on that just then. And the words are, every little action helps. I think that's a good way of finishing. I have to thank you so much for talking to me and being so open with everything. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Glenn. I've enjoyed talking to you, and I hope that maybe the listeners to this would pick one or two things, and let's make the world a better place. not only for ourselves, our families, but for everyone.